Welcome to highlights of Stage 8 of the Vuelta A Espana, starting in Monzón Templario and ending up in Zaragoza, 163.5 kilometres. And the sun was shining again. Riders looking relaxed ahead of the start of what we think was going to be a day for the sprinters. Mads Pedersen there with the fans and his green bike and the green jersey. This is the menu. This is the route. Not too much elevation today, 1,236 metres of elevation. The sprint point comes at 42.5 k's to go. A rolling opening first half of the stage, and then the final finishing sector of 23.4 k's, giving an opportunity for the sprinters to get a sighting lap of that finish. Three riders dominated the day. Three Spaniards, in fact. It was Jean Bou of Caja Rural, Sergio Cimitier of Cofidis, and José Luis Faura of Burgos BH. And meanwhile behind, the tempo is being set by the teams of the sprinters, unsurprisingly. The fans were out in force as we headed towards the outskirts of this big town. And there was going to be some crosswinds potentially near the end, but a calm day, relatively speaking, for Torsten Troyen, who was looked after very ably by his teammates. A new experience from the man from Norway. Meanwhile, the lead was bouncing at around 3 minutes to the riders in front, who are doing a good job on long, flat roads. Later on in the day, it was Lidl Trek that took to the chase as well, in the figure of Emmanuel Gebra Jabir. And the gap started to drop. Going through the only intermediate sprint of the day with 42.7 k's to go, it was Sergio Cimitier of Cofidis who took maximum points. And then, with some more points on offer out on the road, emerging from the pack like a rocket was Mads Pedersen to take fourth place and some more points towards the green jersey classification, just in front of Ethan Vernon. So Cimitier from Bou from Faura, 2017 and 15. But importantly, Mads Pedersen extending his lead in the green jersey competition to Ethan Vernon, with Philipsen there in third. Entering the finishing circuits in Zaragoza, the first of the riders to lose contact was José Luis Faura of Burgos. He could not keep a pace with the two in front, but the lead at this point had been slashed to only 27 seconds. Massive crowds out in force to welcome home the Vuelta. And as you would have expected, teams in real formation, discipline reigning. Visma Lease bike on the right-hand side, making sure they were keeping Jonas Vingegaard in pole position and in a safe place. Meanwhile, out in front, lots of furtive glances around. The first to be caught was Faura with 19.9 k's to go. He was taken back by the peloton on these wide open roads, and then with only 17 k's to go and a little bit of loose change, both of the rest of the break were taken back, and it was set fair for a sprint royale. One or two of the other GC teams were moving up. One rider who didn't decide to stay with the pack was Juan Ayuse, dropping off, perhaps keeping his powder dry for another day. But heading in towards the finish with 5 k's to go, heading to the magical 3 kilometres to go board where the time would be taken, it was Team Visma Lease bike drilling it on the left-hand side, with the sprint teams not too far behind. It was then Lotto that took things up, looking after Elia Viviani as they thundered into the final kilometre of this race. It was going to be the sprint royale that everybody expected.
Alpecin do appear now, and Philipsen's on the wheel and ready to go. Kwiatkowski over to the left, it's Turner over the right as we look at it, and Alpecin are trying to lead this one out. Pedersen finds himself there. Coquard is there with the yellow sleeves as well. He's making his move to the front on the left-hand side. It's Philipsen who's waiting to go. He leaves it late. Viviani's there. Viviani and Philipsen. Philipsen to the line. He comes around Viviani, and for the second time at this Vuelta A Espana, in a messy, disorganised, chaotic sprint, it's victory for Jasper Philipsen.
Jasper Philipsen then taking his second win of this Vuelta after taking the opening stage. A chaotic sprint there, lost his lead out, found the wheel of Brian Coquard in the end to just muscle his way through the space just in front of Elia Viviani. Ethan Vernon placing third. A blanket finish and delight for the Belgian, remember, on the comeback trail after his disappointment in the Tour de France. So after that chaotic sprint, Jasper Philipsen reigned supreme, but Elia Viviani in second there and Brian Coquard were to be relegated for irregular sprinting, losing their places.
Every Grand Tour win is always a special one, and it's never easy. You suffer a lot of days in the mountains to get here, and yeah, from now on it's also going to be a tough Vuelta, but with 2 wins it always makes it a bit more easy.
So the general classification, there was no change at all. Torsten Trøen of Norway and Bahrain Victoria still leading this race ahead of the next mountain stage. 2:33 advantage over Jonas Vingegaard. A more relaxed day in red for the Norwegian. A more relaxed smile on the podium as well. So the classification for points, still Mads Pedersen, 117 points to the good. Ethan Vernon still in second with 108. But Jasper Philipsen, courtesy of that win, moving up to third. So another day in green for the Dane. Not the victory he'd had hoped, but has consolidated and in fact increased his lead in that classification over second place. So let's look ahead to stage 9, the day before the rest day, from Alfaro to Val d'Escarre, 195.5 kilometres. And this is the profile. No categorised climbs early on, no sprint points until very deep into the race, but a rolling parkour nonetheless, and then a finishing climb, which should see an opportunity maybe for a breakaway and possibly another GC shake-up ahead of the well-welcomed rest day.